Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jai Gobind and this is your channel for grace. It is good to be back. My voice is still recovering, as you can probably hear in my voice. But I'm excited to talk about this new moon. I'm excited to talk about the astrology. I'm excited to show you the chart. The new moon is happening tomorrow on November 23rd at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time and 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So tomorrow we will be having our new moon ceremony, and I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do it during the day because it is Sunday, so we can do it a little earlier. But just look out for the notification of when the video is going to be streaming live, and I'm really excited for that, so I hope to see you tomorrow for that. If you haven't yet signed up for my newsletter, please do so. There is a link in the description of this video. When you sign up for my newsletter, what you get is a weekly moon report where I talk about what the moon is doing, what aspects it's making to other planets, and how this relates to us, how it is affecting us. And that's a daily thing. And so I think it's important for us to have some kind of guidance on a daily basis when it comes to astrology. And that was the intention behind that moon magic report. And when you sign up for the newsletter, you also get my free moon astrology guide, and you're able to see what your psychic moon gifts are based on the sign that your moon is in. And as also another amazing thing that is already out there and ready for you to purchase if you would like to is my Woman and the Moon course. It is an introduction to the moon centers. It is an introduction to your ability to flow with the moon as a woman. It is also diving deep into the moon centers. There's so much in that course, you guys. I have created videos to help you understand what the moon is, what setting intentions with the moon is like, what the phases of the moon are, again, what the moon centers are, and how we flow as women, as that sacred divine feminine through these energies. And once you understand it, it makes life easier because you're not trying to figure things out. You stop thinking of yourself as out of control, as society likes to, look at women or say women are. And you start to actually feel like, no, actually, I'm fully in control of myself, and I'm going to start making better choices based on my own emotional flow. And it is so connected with the moon because the moon is that sacred divine feminine. It's also connected to the ocean and the waves and the mother and the nurturing energy and our intuition. So all of that is the realm of the sacred divine feminine. And if we understand that on a deeper level, our lives will literally become a little bit easier to handle because we will understand from that bigger perspective. So that course is available, and the link is also in the description of this video. And remember, I am doing astrology readings. I have a special reading for life purpose, which is 108, as well as an extensive astrology reading, which is 333. That one takes me about 2 weeks to prepare for, but it is one of the most in-depth readings that I offer, looking at your natal chart, the aspects for all of 2020, and there are some major things happening in 2020, eclipses and moving into the age of Aquarius, conjunctions with Jupiter and Pluto, and looking at how that is happening in your chart really gives you a better idea of how to sort of manage, I guess, your life or understand your life. And it might make you feel a little bit better, like you're not losing it. Like a lot of us are feeling that energy, like we're losing it, but we are actually just going through this very intense transition and transformation that all of the planets are asking us to do. And we're going to look at that, a little bit of that in this chart for this new moon in Pisces, which is also a completion of a cycle of new moons that started with Aries. So there's an ending and a beginning with this new moon. It's actually really beautiful. And that is all I wanted to share with you guys. I also have an Etsy shop, so if you're interested in purchasing any of the jewelry I make, which is made with genuine crystals, you can do that on my Etsy shop, which is Eagle Star Jewels, and my website is channelforgrace.guru. So what we're going to do today is talk about this new moon and see how it is going to be affecting us as a collective energy. And it's a very powerful new moon, like I said, because it is a beginning and an ending at the same time. This is a moon that is actually here to help us activate our dreams. It is also a moon that is here to help us connect with our emotions and to understand things at a deeper level. Pisces rules the 12th house of the subconscious mind, of the divine energy, the Akashic records, the completion of the astrological wheel. So we have both an energy of deep understanding, cleansing, and also completion of a powerful cycle. There's a lot going on with this moon. Some of it is pointing towards the new world that we've been looking at, while some of it is actually reminding us of the past and helping us release things from the past and showing us where it is that we have to let go of to get to where we're going, and also everything that we've had to let go of already to get to where we are today. New moons are also about setting intentions. So you need to be asking yourself, what are your dreams for the future right now? How can you begin to move forward and get back on track in your life? Intuition is going to be high. Sensitivities are going to be high with this new moon. So pay attention to what spirit, source energy, your soul is trying to communicate with you during this time. Literally, what is your soul calling you to do? So we're going to go over the chart now. This is it. So we can take a look at the actual details of what's going on with this moon. And I do hope you guys are having an awesome beginning of the weekend. Okay. I'm still getting better. It's been one hell of a week. 2 weeks for me, really. So you should be able to see the chart right here for this Pisces new moon, and there is a lot. I'm going to tell you before I start going into this, there is a lot going on with all of these aspects in the chart. So hang in there. We're going to get through all of them. And you can see we have the new moon here. It's at 4 degrees of Pisces, where it is actually conjuncting the sun. That's how you know it's a new moon. The sun and the moon conjunct at the exact same degree. So that's where we can see this new moon in Pisces. Now, this new moon is actually conjuncting Mercury, which is also in Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces energy. We've got the moon, the sun, Mercury, and Neptune also in Pisces. And Neptune is this home sign of Pisces. It rules Pisces. So the fact that the moon is conjuncting Mercury and Mercury is also in retrograde in Pisces is actually a big deal. Mercury retrograde in Pisces is asking us to contemplate our lives deeply. It is at the same time activating our imagination and our creativity. You need to be asking yourself, in what ways can you move forward from here? With Neptune in Pisces, this actually is increasing this energy, and Neptune, believe it or not, is also sextiling Jupiter, which is a positive aspect. Jupiter is expanding this energy. So our dreams are being activated and expanded at the same time. It is like the world of the unknown, because that's what Pisces is opening its doors, and we have an opportunity to dive right into the deepest depths of our soul, to discover hidden truths and activate our ability to make our dreams come true. The moon is also sextiling Mars, and that's happening right over here. Here's Mars, and then there's the moon. It is doing a sextile to Mars, and what that's doing is activating passionate ambition and imagination, which brings a determination and a persistence to achieve whatever you set out to do. This time is ripe with manifestation. It is a time to also set a solid plan that will support this process and focus your energy on where it is you actually want to go. The moon is also sextiling Uranus. down here. Life is changing, and it has been changing for a long time. This moon is sextiling Uranus, which takes away any boredom and actually sparks activity and a desire to have fun and also keep things lively. I think that we are kind of tired of the intense energy that has been kind of plaguing us since January with the Saturn Pluto conjunction, and we're ready to complete the cycle and start a new one. Uranus is always, there to help us create new things and spark our creativity towards finding solutions and innovative ways of solving our problems. And to top it off, the moon is also having an aspect with the nodes. It's sextiling and trining the nodes. And you can see that right here. There's the sextile, there's the trine, there's the north node, and there's the south node. The reason this is significant, because with the trine to the north node and the sextile to the south node, this new moon is saying this is part of our destiny. This is happening because we're being called to move away from our fate and away from our past and closer to our destiny. Life only feels like fate when we give up on our dreams. So it's time to reactivate our dreams, or maybe to come up with new dreams. You have to listen to your intuition and your emotional guiding system now more than ever. It is that inner guiding system and a deep inner knowing and diving into the unknown and the occult hidden messages from the universe that hold the key or the solution to any dilemma that you're dealing with in your life. If we get stuck in the past, in our karma, we will never be able to move forward. What you focus on, you will attract. And there is no other sign like Pisces to show us that. This is the real test of our ability to focus on the now, on the present moment, with hope and dreams, not with fear. Because fear will only take you deeper into more fear. So if you're going to dive into the rabbit hole, which Pisces kind of is a little bit, you better at least be excited to take the journey, because what you imagine will literally come alive. We've got a square. We can talk about a little bit about how this is affecting our relationships, right? Because right now there is a square from Venus to Jupiter. So when it comes to relationships, Venus and Jupiter are not exactly feeling good in this realm. A Venus square to Jupiter can feel like an extravagant or an indulging energy. It doesn't really think of the consequences, and it doesn't help that Venus is in Aries. We tend to be very impulsive with this transit. That is why it's so important for us right now, with all of the Jupiter aspects, to work hard and to make wise decisions. Now, Jupiter is actually conjuncting Pluto, so Venus is also squaring Pluto. The square to Pluto from Venus is also significant because Pluto is the planet of transformation, change, death, and Venus is our relationship. So in essence, Pluto is ending relationships that don't work, transforming the relationships that we have right now, and asking us to be careful with when it comes to power struggles and manipulation. Stay away from those energies. They're just going to make things more complicated. It's time to let, if it's time to let a relationship go, you need to just let it go. It's not worth the struggle. Remember that Venus is in Aries, and this is already adding a lot to the fire. This is a fiery energy. So it's adding fire into the mix. And we can get really impulsive with Aries energy and not think about the consequences of our actions. And that's going to definitely affect our relationships in a negative way. It's not an easy transit, but it is here, and we have to take it into account because this is part of this new moon energy. Venus is also opposing Juno. So there's a pull, right? There's a polarity. You've got Aries on one end and Libra in the other end. So Aries is like me, me, me. Libra is us, balance. Venus's opposition to Juno in Libra is Juno on this end of the spectrum is wanting to pull us towards balance, in our soulmate relationships. So what you're going to do is you're going to feel the pull between wanting things your way in relationships and also wanting to do what's fair for everybody involved. And only you know deep down inside what is right for you in this situation. But that is how this moon will be affecting our relationships, adding a little bit of a kind of a friction energy to relationships. And so I really think that the focus right now should be on you, on what you want, on what you're ready to create. And if someone's on board with that and they're vibing at the same energy as you are, great. If not, maybe this is like a solo journey for you right now. Mars, if we move onto Mars and what Mars is doing, he is, the first thing I want to talk about is he is trining Uranus. This is adding to the energy of that innovative drive and action that I was talking about. So these opportunities are not to be missed. And in order to take advantage of these doors that are opening, you have to take action. That's what Mars is. Mars is taking action. And that's what he wants us to do right now, especially because he's in Capricorn. And with Uranus and Taurus, he's helping with bringing in the material things that we need to build our new world. Mars is also going to square Chiron, who's over here. The Mars square Chiron is challenging us to develop new and unusual strategies for living, because Mars is this aggressive use of energy and Chiron is a breakthrough to the other side. So when you combine those two things together, it's an aggressive energy to break through to the other side. And so we have to create a new way, and maybe unusual, right, to live. To add to this, this is really interesting. To add to this, we have Mars actually conjuncting the south node. It's just 2 degrees apart. The conjunction to the south node from Mars is interesting because there is so much Capricorn energy here with the south node. You know, you've got Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter, south node, Mars. It's like the stellium, right? The Capricorn stellium is going strong. It's been going strong since January. But Mars here conjuncting the south node is actually helping us to release something from our past, which is a process that the Pluto-Saturn conjunction began in January. Mars is finally here to help release any leftover nonsense so that we can finally move on from it. So there is a clearing energy to this moon, releasing and clearing old stuff, especially when it comes to emotional cleansing, and then getting us ready, like setting us up, putting us at the start line. Mars is also going to be squaring Black Moon Lilith because she's conjunct Chiron, actually. So this square is interesting because Mars actually rules Aries. So when you think about Black Moon Lilith, Chiron, and Venus in Aries, they're activating Mars. And Lilith just does what she wants naturally. She's like the rebel, right? In relationship, she does what she wants. And Mars is actually like challenging her to actually do it. It's like, I dare you. I dare you to do what you want. I dare you to like go for what you want in life. I dare you to like live out your dreams. And the thing with Black Moon Lilith is she's like you could compare her to the energy of a child that is just going to go do its thing normally, not just in Aries. And Aries adds to that. But normally Black Moon Lilith is like, I'm going to go and, do this thing. And I don't care what people think. That's what that energy is. That's what Black Moon Lilith energy is. She doesn't stay in a relationship if it's not serving her. She just leaves, she moves on. And it doesn't bother her. But in Aries, it really adds to that energy. She's like, now I'm really going to do what I want and I don't care. And I don't care about even hurting people's feelings. But this isn't really about hurting people's feelings as much as it is about actually doing what we want, like daring ourselves to actually do what we want. There is a transit here that's very powerful, that is the beginning energy of an actual exact conjunction that will happen later on in the year, but it is between Pluto and Jupiter. So this conjunction is getting a little bit closer. Right now it's 18, 19, 20, 6 degrees apart, but it will be exact. And I believe it will be at 24 degrees when Jupiter moves closer to Pluto. But we're going to start to feel the effects of this transit right now as they get closer. On this moon, this energy is beginning to show up and express itself. And that's why I want to mention it. What this means for us, if you're focusing on a futuristic goal, like meaning a new world, a new energy, which is what the universe is actually asking us to do, you will have the assistance of Pluto to not bend, to not change, or compromise on anything that separates you from this goal. But the question is, what is your goal? And do you even know what you're reaching towards energetically? We're always reaching towards something energetically. So do you even know what you're reaching towards? Are you even aware of what that is for you? What that goal is for you that you're reaching towards? Because if you're not, if you're unconscious, if you're moving through the world in an unconscious way, this is not going to be a good transit for you, because you will get really stubborn when it comes to certain things. And if you get stubborn in the wrong direction, I mean, you can imagine what the implications of that is, right? Now, Saturn is actually squaring Uranus during this. I told you guys, there's so much going on. It's insane with this new moon. But hopefully these bits and pieces of information will help create sort of a bigger picture of this new moon. And I will like wrap it up in the end when I finish going through all these transits. But there's just a lot of like, there's like two sides of the coin playing themselves out right now. And I really believe it is because this Pisces energy is the completion of a new moon cycle that started when like last year, when the moon was in Aries, right? So of course Saturn has to have a say here. And with the square to Uranus, he is challenging us to find the middle ground that satisfies our need for freedom as well as our desire for stability. This is like an increased self-discipline to help us achieve our goal. And there's a couple more transits that I want to talk about before we wrap this sort of energy up. And it is Uranus making a sextile and a trine to the nodes, and Chiron actually T-squaring the nodes. These are the last two things. So Uranus sextiling and trining the nodes. Again, remember the moon is also doing this, right? In its own way. This is very interesting. They're both pointing towards our destiny. They're both pointing towards a path forward and away from fate and karma. And Chiron, the T-square to the nodes from Chiron, is challenging us to wake up to our desire to heal, to move forward beyond the ego wounds, and into the heart space, which brings us back to this whole energy in Pisces. And this is like the concluding, I guess, statement for this. Gotta sound like a lawyer. This new moon is a beautiful circle. It's a full circle energy where we see how far we've come and we recognize the power in moving on from that past so that we can create, design, focus on, and literally build a new dream. We've been talking about this. Let me switch back to my screen. So we've actually been talking about this for a long time, right? We've been talking about this energy of living our new dream, manifesting a new dream, entering a new age, entering the age of Aquarius, transforming, letting go of the old world, getting rid of the old structures and creating new ones. And I think that's why things feel a little bit havoc and like out of sorts, because we are creating a new world right now. So how do you do that? Like, how do you step into that, creating a new world? Well, it has to start with you. And it has to start with what you want, what you desire. And it has to start with you not being afraid to dive deep into that subconscious sort of abyss of old wounds, old stories, old structures, old relationships, old habits, old ways of doing things. And then looking at it, like honestly looking at it and saying, look, this is where I feel my intuition guiding me. And my intuition is telling me this and this and this. And therefore I am going to take action to move in that direction. But it can get a little bit intense when you don't know, when the horizon is the horizon and it's infinite possibilities. That, I think, is what's scaring us the most, is having to let go of the past without knowing exactly what the future looks like, and feeling sort of like the pressure or the burden or the responsibility that we have as awakened beings, as conscious beings, in being the stewards of that energy, being the ones that activate that energy, being the first ones that start to live a different way, that start to live a different life. That, I think, is the scariest part. Knowing that no one knows what is the right way to live, but allowing yourself in your own personal way to be inspired, to re-inspire yourself, or to just be inspired to create a new world. And it's okay not to know exactly how you're supposed to do it. It's a little bit like we're in this kind of trial and error place, and we're learning a lot. We're learning that the old way of doing things is not working anymore. No one is going to feel comfortable staying in relationships that don't work or jobs that don't fulfill them. It's just not going to happen. Doing things in your life that don't feel good, that it's almost like that's out. We're done with that. So how do you transition into a new way of being? Well, you are the creator. You are the magician. And you are the only one that knows truly within yourself what the right thing for you is. But the energy of this moon is adding to our ability to find out what that is, to take action, to go towards our hopes and our dreams. And to not be afraid to look into that unknown and say that even though it's unknown, I still know that it's the right way to go. I still know that it's the right energy to move towards, because every cell of my being is telling me this. Destiny is different than fate. When you live your life in a fated way, you let something else control your life. You let an outer reality control your life. An outer structure or a belief system, something else controls you, and then you end up in a fated life. You don't have control of that. However, and that's living with the South Node. That's like staying with the South Node and not transforming or transgressing that energy or transmuting that energy and moving away from it and towards the North Node. Because the North Node is the unknown for all of us in our chart. It is that place that points towards a new activation, a new way of being in our lives in general. So when we let go of that rope, right? When we cut the rope, there's a really beautiful movie. This is coming up for me right now. There's a movie called Touching the Void. And the most significant part in that whole movie is it's a story of two climbers who were climbing Mount Everest. And they get to the top, I believe, but it is on their way down that they run into a lot of trouble. And they fall. And one of them is able to hang on for dear life. And the other one is hanging off the cliff. It's a true story. It's really crazy, but it's a true story. Just go get that movie. It's called Touching the Void. This is so perfect for this new moon. So what happens is they're sitting there for I don't know how long, but it's like this, there's a storm, it's cold. The guy holding on, the guy anchored into the ground is like, I don't know what's going on because I can't see the guy. All I know is that I feel his weight pulling me and I'm holding on for dear life. I don't know if the guy is dead. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. He's not coming back. Is there a cliff there? He doesn't even know if there's a cliff, but there is a cliff. And the guy is literally dangling off the cliff. His fingers are getting frostbite. He can't climb up. He doesn't know what to do. He's literally just hanging there, right? So the guy that's holding on, that's anchored into the ground, he decides the only way to literally survive is to cut the rope, right? To let go, to release. And so he cuts the rope, right? He doesn't know what happens to his friend. All he knows is he needs to get back up and continue going down the mountain. And so that's what he does. He gets back up and he doesn't know what happens to his friend. He gets all the way down, but he had to do that. Otherwise, they would have both died. Nobody died. Sorry if I'm ruining the movie for you, but it's actually a really good story. So anyways, the other guy ends up, falling down into a ravine or a crevice and breaks his leg. Somehow, I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but nobody dies, okay? Anyways, I'm going too much into the story because it's just a fascinating story, but it is called Touching the Void because literally they go into this unknown world. And when you're in that realm, like things can get crazy, right? It's like, oh my God, like I have to literally cut the rope and like, I don't even know, my friend's probably dead. I don't know. I just have to cut the rope and like go on with it, go on with life. And that's what this Neptune, Pisces, 12th house energy is like. You're in sort of the abyss, but there's a lot of aspects that are helping you to find your way. It's like you're in the abyss, but you have a map. And the map is all the Capricorn energy. The map is Mars in Capricorn. The map is like the Jupiter, sextile Neptune. The map is Uranus sextiling and trining the nodes. The map is the moon sextiling and trining the nodes, all pointing towards destiny. So that's kind of what this moon feels like. So that's what it's intense and there's a lot going on. There's one more thing I want to read to you guys, which is the Sabian symbol for this moon. So you can see that it's not as heavy as we think. It's not as serious as we think. And I think that's a very important point to take away from this new moon and to help you see where to set your intentions for this new moon, right? So the moon is at 4 degrees of Pisces, and the Sabian symbol for 4 degrees Pisces is the following. The cast party after a benefit performance. The host ladles out spiked punch and regales the other guest with outrageously exaggerated stories based on his own experience. So what does this mean, right? This is about sociability, being social. This is about dissolving social inhibitions, maybe even using alcohol as a social lubricant. This is fostering friendship and good cheer. This is about contributing to the group effort by making things enjoyable. This is getting people to laugh. This is goofy or squirrely perspectives that help people see life in a new way. This is pointing out the incoherence and craziness of modern life in a guise of humor, surrealistic films or books. This is helping people connect the dots when no one else seems to be talking about reality. This is belief that we need to get onto the same page before we can deal in an effective way with collective problems. Individually, we have to get on that same wavelength, which is towards destiny. This is about subverting people's adherence to misrepresentations of reality by getting them to drink in a potent measure of truth. To drink in a potent measure of truth. This is making up droll but instructive stories. This is employing distortion and exaggeration to make your point. So this is that Pisces energy. But you can see from the Sabian symbol that there's a playfulness to it. There's a joy to it. There is a fun aspect to it. That is what I want to call you guys to really go towards. Because it is in that joyful energy that you will find the answers and get closer towards your North Node, your destiny, your path of creating your dream, your new reality, your new world. And by doing that, we are literally doing it together for the whole of humanity and being the examples of this new world, of behaving in a new way, of living life in a new way, of understanding things in a new way, of not going back into the past, because it's not even possible. It's like the Ten of Swords. It's just stop beating the dead horse. Stop beating the dead horse. It's not going to come back to life. If things are done, they're done. Now it's time to look towards the future. But this is the actual shifting point where it began, last year with all that crazy energy, and also the Saturn Pluto conjunction, which was the most major thing. The Saturn Pluto conjunction happens every 35 years. So this is actually a 35-year cycle that is ending. And this new moon is another aspect of that, guiding us away from the cycle that has ended. So what are you going to do now? Where are you taking yourself? What's your future? And take it to where it's fun. That's the key. Take it to where it's fun. Do the things that help you feel better. And you will be literally going in the right direction. If there's even a way to say a right or a wrong direction. But to me, the right direction right now is away from the old structures, old habits, old patterns, and towards a new way that we are inventing, that we're literally creating ourselves. And I know that, this message is has been underlying every new and full moon. And every new and full moon has been different aspects of this message. But it keeps coming through. Why? Because it's important. Because we have to pay attention to it. Because it's the only way to move forward. As difficult as it may seem. As much as you feel alone and like you're the only one doing it. You're not the only one doing it. But it can feel that way sometimes. So as much as it feels that way, there is still the message. And the message says, go that way. So are you going that way? And that's towards destiny, towards your North Node. I hope that this, this message resonated with you. And I am excited about tomorrow's new moon ceremony. So look out for that. Also, remember to sign up for the newsletter and get the free moon astrology guide. Check out the Woman and the Moon course that I have. It's available. It's only $108. And it'll help you understand the cycles of the moon, the phases of the moon, and the sacred divine feminine. So if you're someone who wants to learn more about the sacred divine feminine, the moon goddess, that would be the perfect opportunity for you. And I would love to look at your natal chart. There's one more aspect, or one more type of reading that I'm going to begin to offer, and it will be like a reading, a transit reading, where we'll look at your chart and we'll look at the transits that are going on right now and give you sort of advice. It's kind of like doing a tarot reading, but with astrology on your life currently, whenever it is that you sign up for the reading. So look out for that as well. That's going to be coming out soon. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being a part of this community. I hope that you have an amazing new moon energy. And I will be seeing you guys tomorrow for the new moon ceremony. And check out the last two videos that I put out, which are the Mercury retrograde, pick a card to give you more insight into the transit and how it's affecting you. And also I put out a new song, which is called I Take Another Step. It's not a new song, but I put out the actual recording of it. So check that video out as well. So awesome seeing you guys again, and I will see you again very soon. Sat Nam.